56, we're going to do 1 through 24 in theory.
Wait a minute.
It's a half-day assignment, Brady. Are you ready for the test?
I don't care. It's up to you. What? I mean.
Well, you're taking it today. I'm
yeah.
saying, are you done with the formulas?
Oh yeah, I guess.
We had. Oh, that's the review. Were we supposed to turn in the review? Hey, John.
Oh yeah, Mr. Jordan.
Josh, were we supposed to turn this in?
Mr. Jordan, are we supposed to turn in the review for the test?
Yeah, were we supposed to turn that in?
No.
The review thing?
No.
Because we did all of them most of the week.
Okay.
You gotta be joking.
What did I just say? 1 through 24 on page?
You said 1 through 3.
I thought it was 1 through
56.
1 through 15.
I heard 1 through 4.
I actually
I'll get it.
We were so close.
Okay.
You both know you won't.
Number 1, it says state whether the function is a polynomial function. Give the zeros of the function if they exist. Okay, a polynomial is just like 3x squared plus 2xy. So you can't have fractions like with the x in the denominator. So like this would not be a polynomial term. So that's a no-no. That's basically it. Also, if it says like x to the negative 1, that's the same thing as x in the denominator, so those are both no-nos. I think everything else is probably polynomial. Yeah, lots of yeses on that part. Okay, what does it mean to find the zeros of the function? I feel like we talked about this in chapter 1.
What makes x 0 and what makes y 0?
So the zeros of the function on number 1, as an example, is what makes the function equal to 0. It's the x value that makes the entire function equal to 0. So basically what we're doing is solving for x. What x value makes the function equal to 0. So that's called the zeros of the function. Sometimes they call it the root, the solution, whatever. So how do I solve that for x?
17 divided by 3.
Close. Well, kind of more like negative 17.
317.
Oh, is this the
17 thirds.
Yeah, divided by negative 3. Unfortunately, it's going to get harder than that. So the answers are 17 thirds and yes.
Yeah,
Yes, because it is a polynomial function. So does anybody see a no right now? Maybe we just point those out at the beginning.
4.
Number 4 and 5.
just because we have one.
4 and 5 are the only no's.
The variables
Why not?
are on the bottom.
The x's can't be in your denominator. Yeah.
Are my things good?
Oh.
What do you guys get to number 3?
This should go the whole way.
Oh, I meant for it to go.
And that looks like an exponent.
Is this gonna become a regular thing with you?
Oh, I meant for that. I meant for that to be where
No, nothing should be.
Actually,
No, I mean like x2 minus x.
oh my gosh.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Oh. That's hard, right?
You go at the bottom. All right.
Okay.
Did you say rad?
I said bread.
Oh.
Ready for 3?
Rad.
Says h of x equals 9. Oops. This one will be short and sweet.
Like not winning.
Stop.
That's pretty good, actually.
I usually say, like me. And then the last time I said that, someone was like, you're not. No. I was like,
No.
what are you saying, I'm not warm and fuzzy? I said, but I am fuzzy. All right, anyway.
It's just like, okay,
Alright, anyway.
Anyway, back to math.
So, is it a polynomial?
Yes.
What x values would make the function equal equals 0.
Negative 9.
Is it negative 9?
No.
What?
Is it 9?
Is it 3?
Is it 0?
Negative
Is it 4? Wait, this is nothing. Because
The function is always equal to 9. There's no x to change anything. So it will always equal 9 no matter what. So it is
Anything?
9.
That's whack.
No zeros.
Freaking tricky.
Okay. Is number 5 a polynomial?
C.
No.
No.
Oh, wait, no, wait.
We already went over this
I
one.
know, it was the opposite.
Okay. How do I make that big giant thing into a 0?
We set it to 0.
What is 0 divided by a billion? 0.
0.
So what that means is if the numerator is 0, the whole thing is 0. The only thing you have to watch out for is we can't use an answer that makes the denominator 0 because dividing by 0 is illegal. But really what we need to do is make the numerator, the top, into a 0. So what x values make that 0? So how do I
can
s-
factor that thing.
Right, if it's a quadratic equation, that means there's an x squared, and we can solve it using quadratic formula or factoring. Since this is a basic 3-term quadratic, factoring should be kind of easy. What multiplies into negative 4 that would add up to negative 3?
Negative 4.
Negative 4 and positive 1. That's not the answer, that's just how you factor it.
Wait, can you do long division with this one?
The answer is just negative 4. Wait.
Long
answer is
division.
For number 5. Like whenever you use,
Oh, well,
right?
it might not divide, probably wouldn't. Well. So what's x gonna be?
4. 4 negative.
Right, whatever makes this factor 0, 4, or negative 1. Those are the zeros of the function. Make the function into 0. Oh, do either of those make the denominator 0? If you plugged in 4 to the denominator or negative 1?
The answer is yes. Wait, no.
No. Negative 1 squared is positive 1, plus 1 is 2. So neither of these screw up the denominator. That's just what I'm checking. Made denominator 0, we'd have to x one out. Remember doing that? But they're good. That's the answer. So it's no, and those two. Number 7 says, x cubed minus 9x. Is that a function? X cubed minus 9x equals 0. This is not a quadratic equation. Wish I had put it in. So, what can I do to solve that? Take an x out. That's the kind of factoring. X times what equals this? So just divide those by x.
X plus 3, x minus
Okay, if I take an x out, I'm left with x squared minus 9. Okay, I should probably warn about something here. Could I divide both sides by x?
2.
Okay, I could, and that would get rid of that x, and this would still be a 0. But sometimes when you divide both sides by x, you lose an answer. This would be one of those times. If I divide, okay. So this in here is a quadratic because it has an x squared. So you could use quadratic formula on this part. But if there's an x out here, what is one of my answers? 0. Because 0 times whatever this is going to give me 0. So if there's an x on the outside, 0 is one of my answers. I'll write that later. you could use the quadratic to find the other two answers in here, with 1, 0, and negative 9 being my A, B, and C. But this also factors, it's a square minus a square. What does that factor to?
X plus 9x minus, or x plus 3x minus.
Right, you take the roots, x and 3, and you do one with the plus, one with the minus. A square is something that has a square root. So the roots are x and 3, so I did x plus 3, x minus 3. Alright, so what are my answers?
0, x minus 3x.
0, negative 3, positive 3.
What do you do with the 2?
The 2, what are you talking about? What you talking
wait.
about, Willis?
I was looking at 6.
On 6, the 2 in the denominator can be ignored. You just need to solve x squared plus 2 equals 0.
So just
That's going to be an imaginary answer, but you still have to find it. You can just get x squared by itself and use the square root trick on that one. Number 9. Letters px squared plus r plus qx. I changed the order. You guys see what I did with the order?
You did put yes or no
Yeah.
first?
You guys know why I changed the order?
no.
This is standard with the x squared and then the x and then the constant up there. Alright. You guys see where they're going with this? Maybe not.
Yeah.
You have to do the slope.
Huh?
No clue.
I can't really solve it like we normally think, but
You just read the quadratic formula.
yeah, it's basically the quadratic formula using A, B, C. So negative B is negative Q. I put a little tail on my Q so they don't look too much like a 9. Maybe get crazy with that.
So they don't look too much like a what?
The 9. That's why I always do the T's like that, so it doesn't look like a plus. Negative Q plus or minus the square root of what?
Q squared
Q squared
minus 4PR
minus 4 times A times C, so PR over 2A.
PP.
Can I do anything else? No.
Connie Dirk.
You just got demoted to 7th grade. Roll up. Alright.
Never. When did he? I did it.
That's because
2P means you have 2C or.
no.
Wait, was that just our answer?
QP means
Yeah.
P plus
Oh,
P.
no, we
We
just.
don't, that's all we can do.
P
Was that yes or no? Or that was no?
Everything's a yes except for 4 and 5. Did I say yes? I think I forgot.
No, you didn't, but yes.
Yeah.
But I thought if it had the variable in the bottom.
Okay, that's the original problem on number 9 has no denominators with the variable.
Oh, so it's.
The answer can have fractions. Okay,
I got in the skater class and do it.
what's confusing? The 9? We basically just did quadratic formula with different letters. Let's
I
replace
get that part, just
That's
like,
nice for you.
all of it.
no.
Factoring,
That's fine.
you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, number 11, x cubed plus 2x squared plus x. X cubed plus 2x squared plus x equals 0. We've used, what's step number? It's a cubic function, not a quadratic, so we can't just use quadratic formula.
Take out
taking x out.
And then use the quadratic.
And then we could use the quadratic formula. I'm guessing it's going to factor though. If I take an x out of all those, what's this term going to become?
X
Plus 0. 1.
One.
One.
Factors, it's called factoring because factors are things that multiply to the product. This times this equals that. Okay, does this factor right here?
Yes.
Yes. Because what two things multiply into one that add up to 2?
Then 1 and 1.
1 and 1.
You got it, Brady.
No, that's pretty good.
Wait, this is a polynomial, right?
Yeah, sorry, these are all yeses except for 4.
I need a new calculator.
No,
Okay.
I need a new one.
What are my answers?
0 and then -1.
0 and -1. -1 would be called a double root. It's really only one answer, but that's going to mean something later, I guess.
It crosses the -1 twice.
No. It means on the graph it would look like this.
It bounces?
It bounces as -1. Were you here for that last year?
No, it was very vague in geometry.
Why is that -1?
That's not geometry.
Because the
It's
plus
not?
1
Okay,
and plus 1
because
opposite of plus 1 is negative.
The x value of that would make these factors 0 is -1.
Maybe it was algebra. It was good talking.
And we want all this to equal 0. So if you get a 0 anywhere, 0 times
You were in geometry, so you
whatever is 0. So we're just trying to make one of these factors a 0. So like -1 would work. 0 works because of this x. If that's a 0, this will all be 0.
What if one of those ones were -1?
If this was like a -1 right here,
Yeah.
the positive 1 would be another answer.
Alright.
We are on.
This is exhausting, Margaret.
Good. It's a workout.
She's crazy. She's hugging the wall. I'm talking to a goldfish.
Not surprised at all.
Wait, guys, the art teacher, you guys know how she's like in that wolf or whatever?
The bones?
Yes.
The coyote?
I used to take art lessons from her whenever I was like a little tiny
Oh
thing.
my gosh,
That's
I'm
why
so
you're
sorry.
so-
That's why I'm not taking that class. But she saved her old goldfish that were like humongous and put them in the tank with her other goldfish so that they would eat like the flesh.
Oh
so
my
she could have the bones. I was terrified.
Where did we find her?
Terrified.
Yo,
I would go to her house.
we got
and
her on
just see the
wish.com.
goldfish.
Just like looking in the goldfish tank.
Because she wanted to paint the skull, like the.
That's so horrifying. What's that?
All for the sake of
That would scar you for life.
I am, when I die,
Like my baby
my
sister.
dying wish is that she just paints my bones.
I think I told my mom, I was like, I'm not going back.
I'm not going back there. I want to be
I'm so glad I took
Oh my god.
I don't think she remembers me, but.
Okay, 13. This is funny, son.
it.
Let's go!
Yeah.
If it's x squared, like you take out x
We're
squared.
playing basketball with your hoops. Wait, with the earrings.
Yeah, because 0 squared is still 0.
Ain't no hood thing in school.
They keep throwing balls.
Stop.
Hey, Chancellor, count.
Do I need to make
Why
you
did
clean
you
up the
climb
floor,
this?
Josh?
No.
Yeah.
We got it in her head.
Alright, on 13, we're supposed to, it can be simplified. Let me write this down. X cubed plus 2x squared. Maybe we should stop on 14 today.
Please?
Right.
I don't know
Because
what's
this is
going
actually
on.
so
That's
much.
like, yeah, I've heard it a long time. Mr. Jordan.
I joke about this a lot, but I don't know
Oh,
what's going
well,
on.
this was always a 2-day assignment.
Mr.
Oh,
Oh.
I just told you the half day to
Well,
Freak us out.
amuse me.
It says express each column complex number in the form of a plus bi. Do I have to do that? I'd be surprised
That's
if
like
I
the
didn't get
answer
it
is like
right.
3 plus 2i. That's probably your calculator could do that.
Oh, okay, perfect.
That's right up your
This is what I
alley.
resort to.
How can we simplify this? Good question.
Take out an X and then.
You can't take an X out of the top because there's no X in this term.
Ooh, that's annoying.
Ooh, can you take out a 1?
I like your idea, Josh. I just don't think it's realistic.
You can take out a 1, yes, and that would do absolutely
And for
nothing.
that reason.
Sorry.
Oh, I forgot about this.
This is what I was talking about.
That's the division sign, right?
Division bar.
Okay, I haven't seen one of those in so long.
With the correct
Synthetic is
Thursday.
Thursday's assignment.
Sorry if I'm yelling, by the way, I can't hear.
Why not?
Allergies in my ears have been popping like super bad since Saturday morning.
I'll link it up
I
on
like
YouTube.
can barely hear.
You got summer allergies or?
Yeah, because it's turning fall, I think.
Yeah.
I thought you said you're like half deaf.
I'm pretty much deaf, yeah. I can like hardly hear. Everything's muffled.
What?
Bro, don't even joke. I had to ask my sister to repeat so much stuff at lunch. She was talking to me and I was just like, huh?
Okay, well, alright.
Might be.
So, we are gonna use synthetic division on Thursday. I thought we
I
might,
love something.
sometimes synthetic division doesn't work. Let's just do longer on this one. We'll save it till Thursday. Okay, so here's how it goes. Listen, x times what equals x cubed?
X squared.
X squared. And what we're gonna do is x squared times all of this, and we're gonna put it down here and subtract. X squared times x is x cubed. Those should always match. X squared times 2 is 2x squared. Those should usually not match, actually. Okay, but we're subtracting the bottom line, so those are both like minuses now, instead of a plus. So what am I left with if I subtract that?
0.
0, let's go away. Bring down the next term. Usually there's a number right here, like 3x squared or something. And then start over. X, well, since I have a 0 right there, actually I need to bring down both of these guys.
And then you do plus 0, right?
X times what equals negative x? Negative 1. So we kind of skipped the x term. There was no x term. Negative 1 times x plus 2 is negative x minus 2. But if I need to subtract the bottom line, those will both become pluses, and what's my remainder?
0.
0.
That actually worked out surprisingly.
Okay. So that whole giant fraction simplifies to x squared minus 1.
Wait, was this?
So on B, it says, explain why the first expression is not a polynomial. So that first thing that they wrote down on 13A has an x in the denominator, but the simplified expression does not. So that's your answer.
What?
The first expression has an x in the denominator, or variable in the denominator, but the simplified one does not.
So first expression is a denominator.
The first one has an x in the denominator, the simplified does not. Okay. Now, here's the one weird thing. So that big thing that they wrote at the beginning is, we're saying it's the exact same thing as this little guy right here. They will give you the same values. No matter what you put in for x on that giant fraction, it will come out the same on this little fraction. We're saying they're the same thing. Except for, on the original fraction, there's an x value that you can't use. On the original thing, what x value can we not use? Negative 2. So you can plug negative 2 into this guy, but you'll get an answer that doesn't actually exist in the original problem. So there is a little bit of a difference. -2 doesn't work in the original. Do you guys know how they knew that?
Because they made it. Oh, negative, it's on the denominator. Basically, the denominator is 0.
Right.
Oh.
On the original fraction, the denominator would be made 0 by -2. And that's a no-no. So x cannot be -2. So on C it says, give the values of x, if any, for which each expression is undefined. So the original expression is undefined for x equals -2. You guys can just put the original.
X is not equal to -2.
Yeah, you can just put x not equal to -2. That's fine.
How did they know that the -2 would work?
You get what?
Wait, where did the -2 even come into question?
It would make the denominator. They're asking what x value is undefined. X cannot be -2 because it would make that 0. You can't divide by 0.
I love you.
Alright. You guys got like 20 minutes once you try to get the evens done.
Ha ha ha. This is too dang
That
right.
seems like it requires minimal amounts of
She
effort.
would have taken 80s, by the way. Less.